Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. In today's video, I'll be doing a this or that coloring tag round 2. And if that is of interest to you, please stay tuned. Okay, so in this video, I will segment it into 3 parts. The intro, this chatty bit that I'll be doing right now, where I'll be talking about the actual tag as well as people I'm tagging, and then I'll go into the questions. And basically, there's a series of 20 questions plus a bonus. So you may want to pause the video now, get a snack, get comfy, maybe get out your own coloring or journaling, and come back and join me. Now, before I forget, I would like to tag the following people. I'd like to tag Coloring with K, Emma Colors 2020, Poet Spice, Biblio, Color Scribe, and Heidi Hornsby, and they're all have channels here on YouTube. I will link their channels below. I actually recently saw a video about this from Danny Buttons, and I will link her channel below. And this tag was created by Michaela Renee, and I will also link her channel below. So you'll see all of the channel links in the description box below. And there's one other channel I'd like to link, and that's for Susie at Susie's Cottage. She also has a Facebook page where she's distashing some amazing coloring books and pencils and things. She is based out of the UK, so definitely give her a check. She is raising some funds for a fur baby. She'll talk a lot about that on her destash page as well as on her YouTube page, but I also wanted to mention her. Okay, so it is the second round of this or that coloring tag. The book that I'll be working out of is Mythographic Odyssey. This is by Joseph Contenbong, and this one I actually purchased because I saw Erica from Elm Colors recommend it, and I could not agree with her assessment more. I believe that the Joseph versions of the Mythographic, the hidden objects are a lot less obtrusive and obnoxious than in the Fabiano ones. They just don't make sense, but I've learned a way to color around it. Erica does have a 3-part series on her video or on her channel where she shows you how she attacks it. Well, I attack it a little differently, and so I'll be doing some of that here just so that you're just not hearing me ramble on without actually doing something. All right, so is that everything out of the way? Yes, I think it is. So I did pick this up from Target, as you can see. I will be working on this picture right here. And I'll be using my Ohuhu alcohol markers, and I'm thinking I'm going to go for this one here, which is CG0.5 or CG0.5. And just so that you're aware, the way that I like to attack these pages is there's maybe 4 or 5 colors on the page. I will focus on Medusa as the central one because she's interesting and beautiful, but also she's literally in the center of the page. And then everything else will just sort of recede in the background. I do not focus on any of the hidden objects. I'll either glance right over them, or I will incorporate them into the background, but I'm not going to let them stop me from coloring these pages. All right, so for the first question, do I prefer coloring in bed or coloring at my desk? And that one's actually the easiest of all of them to answer because I do prefer and only will color at my desk. I will color at my desk here, or I will color at my desk at work. I do actually have my other Mythographic book there, as well as alcohol markers, colored pencils, colored pens, because I do like to color during my lunch break. Number 2, Crayola Supertips or staedler markers. Now, the only staedlers that I'm aware of are the fine tips, the super thin ones. They're even smaller than like a Papermate Flare. And if that's the one that's being referenced, then yeah, I prefer the Crayola Supertips. And that's just because for the larger spaces, those staedlers, they just don't go anywhere. I think I fell out of coloring years ago because all I was aware of were these staedlers and Crayola pencils. I didn't realize there was just a world of different coloring products out there. And while Crayolas work and staedlers work, you can't attack a page like Joanna Basford with those things and hope to complete anything anytime soon unless that's all you're doing. And so I just got really discouraged because the pigment wasn't there and it took so long because obviously that pen was so small and I just fell out of it. And so it wasn't until I discovered some other things recently that I realized how much fun I have with coloring. Now this might actually be a little too light. No, we'll just keep going on. Number 3, Eriy's Romantic Country Series or Tracing Series. Now, it's funny because when I saw this question and when Danny answered it, because I saw her video first and then I went and watched Michaela's, I kind of had to laugh because until this week, I did not realize what that meant by the Tracing Series. Now, I have books 1 and 2 of Romantic Country, and I love the Eriy books. She's one of my faves, top 3, definitely. And what makes it even more ironic is I've ordered 3 Eriy books from Amazon Japan, and I ordered a tracing book, not realizing it was a tracing book. I didn't know that was a thing until the last few days. I think I saw a video from Pencil Stash where she had talked about it, and then I had to do some research, and funnily enough, one of the books I ordered, like I mentioned, is a tracing one. It's the one with the Eiffel Tower on it. I get them next week. The 26th, I think they're scheduled. And so I won't really be able to look at it and see. From the videos that I've seen online, it looks like it's just lighter versions that you can also pencil in some of your own doodles. And that's fine. I love her work. But I just like, oh, 1, I didn't know that's what I ordered. I just knew it was Eriy and I had to get it. And 2, I didn't realize that was even a thing. But apparently that's a thing. The reason why I think I should do another color is because it just looks kind of grayscale. I mean, it's a 0.5, so it makes sense. Let's try this other one. So CG2. See how much darker this is. I'm sorry for the shadows. It's after work, Thursday the 22nd, and I just wanted to film the video. Okay, so from 4 on, a lot of these answers might be similar, but would I choose Sachin, Sachdeva, color by numbers, or would I choose color Questopia, color by numbers? I don't have either of those products. I don't own anything from color Questopia or Sachin, Sachdeva, but I think just based on what I've seen in the community, yeah, that's definitely better. I would go with the color Questopia, and that's really just because there's just so many different available books from that brand, and I think that's more of a publishing company than just an individual artist, so it makes sense. Sachin Sachdeva is actually a person, and their work is amazing. It's just there'd be a way more options available with color Questopia. So if I had any color by number, I would probably choose one from them. Hannah Lynn, question number 5. Hannah Lynn simple version of the page or Hannah Lynn more detailed version of the page? I also do not own any Hannah Lynn, but from what I've seen, I'd probably favor the more detailed one. As you can see, I tend to favor more detailed coloring books in general. But I don't own any Hannah Lynn. I'm a little intimidated by faces, and to be honest, I prefer either natural, or no, not even natural, like botanical flowers, exteriors, interiors, versus animals or people. which brings me into question number 6, which is coloring animals or coloring people. I suppose I'd have to go with coloring people. I'm a little, not intimidated, I'll do it. It's just I have yet to learn a good color combination for skin for people. And then when it comes to animals, I'm not going for realistic. I'm not going to do fur. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to color in, maybe do some shading, and we're gonna call it a day. But if I had to choose between the two, and really what's making me think I would choose people is one of my top 3 favorite coloring book artists is Opal from the Forest Girls, and I do at least one of her pages every month. And so, yeah, I guess people definitely outweighs animals. Number 7, plan your colors in advance or wing it. I'm definitely a wing it kind of girl. I color to relax and to unwind. And so while I may think, okay, well, I'm always going to do these rock things in every single picture you ever see me do in this mythographic, any of them in gray. I see those, I see gray. But for her, she's going to be green because I envision Medusa is green. This will be a lighter version of green. Maybe I'll go like a darker version of green, but again, I want her to be the focus. But I kind of go from there. In my other coloring books, I just go from part to part to part and kind of fill it in. Sometimes that kind of bites me in the butt because then I'm like, oh, I don't like how this is going, but I'll either just finish it in a rush just to get it done, or I'll just power through and figure it out. Again, I'm not trying to level up a skill I certainly don't consider myself a colorist. I'm definitely more of a relaxing color person. I definitely do this more to relax than to try to bring out the artistic side. I don't know if that makes sense. Number 8, straight coloring or blended coloring. If I'm understanding the question correctly, I'm not very good at blending. If I'm using alcohol markers, I'll do some highlights or shadows or just add some depths with some darker colors. If I'm using pencils, then I will do the same. I don't like to do a lot of layering. If it takes more than 3 pencils or 3 markers to get a desired effect, well, then I'm just not going to get the desired effect. I'm just gonna stop. So I guess it actually would be somewhere in the middle, because I know that a lot of people love to burnish and blend and build, and I'm not about that. And again, it's more because this is meant to be relaxing for me. I'd like to have some depth, absolutely, but realism or having that lit within factor is not anywhere on my radar, and I don't know that it will ever be. Number 9, color by number or color by color. Now, I actually own 2 color by color books, and I have to say I enjoy them. They're quite mindless, but to be perfectly honest, so to answer that particular question, definitely color by color, just because that's what I own. But I actually find this more enjoyable than that, because I can pick certain things and then just color all of those things. And I find that even more mindless than a color by color, because I actually have to focus to make sure I'm coloring in the right spot. I know, so much chattiness. Alcohol markers or Sharpie permanent markers. I've never colored with a Sharpie, and so I don't know how different they are from alcohol markers. And I've had my alcohol markers for about 2 weeks. Yeah, so I'm loving the alcohol markers. I love how they flow. I love the colors that I have. I had mentioned in another video, they're actually difficult for me to source as I live in Hawaii, and a lot of the ones that I was trying to get from Amazon would not ship here. So I was able to get this Ohuhu set from Walmart. But yeah, I'm loving them. I probably don't use them to the best of their ability, but they do make coloring enjoyable. And for me, it makes the payoff that much quicker. I can complete one of these pages like in 2 nights, and it makes me happy. Coloring images realistically or wacky colors? I am definitely more of a realistically, but again, I'm not going for realism. So for me, you're generally not going to see things that are very fantastical in nature, just because I tend to favor either neutrals or muted colors. I don't know how well this tag is going, because a lot of these things I either don't have or I don't do. Well, we're halfway through, so let's just keep going. Number 12, color while listening to a podcast, music, or audiobook. And I had to think about this one. I don't listen to podcasts, so that's already out of the picture. And the only audiobooks I've ever enjoyed were the Harry Potter ones, and that's only because I had read the books, and so I didn't really have to pay attention. But if I have to pay attention, then I can't also be doing something at the same time. So of the 3, I would choose music. But if I'm coloring, the music that I would tend to listen to would have to be without words. And I know it's very specific, but even when I'm at work, I can have that lo-fi, like jazzy type of music, elevator music, going in the background, because I don't need to pay attention to it, and I just find it really soothing. It makes me feel like I'm sitting in a Starbucks. And for some reason, I like that feeling, although I was never one to want to sit in a Starbucks. I'm not a loiterer. But that would be the kind of music that I could listen to while doing a coloring page. Number 13, Kirby Rosanis, World Within Worlds or Fragile World. Now, I had to look up the 2 books because I own neither. And I don't know that I'll ever own either one of them. And it's not even so much the detail that I don't care for. It's more, one, they are double-sided. And so I would want to use alcohol markers in those, and you'd have to sacrifice a page, and I wouldn't want to do that. But 2, there's a lot of animals, and I'm not into that. But of the 2, I definitely lean more towards World Within Worlds, because like I mentioned earlier, I do like pictures with architecture. And even though there are a lot of animals and dinosaurs and things, again, things I'm not really interested in coloring, it is quite interesting renditions. Now, if there was one of those that was single-sided like these books are, then I may consider it, and I would attack it the same way, where it actually be very minimal colors on the page. I would do a lot of blocking, very minimal shading, and just enjoy that process. Number 14, Camelia Angelkova's Mandalas or Miniature series. Again, I don't own any of her books. However, I have had the miniature series, the seasonal ones, in my Amazon cart a few times, and so I definitely lean more towards those. I'm actually not a fan of mandalas. I don't like all the repetition. One of the color by color books that I have is a mandala one, but it's big. It's not tiny little mandalas or tiny little spaces, and so I definitely find that a lot more manageable. But generally speaking, if I am going to gravitate towards a mandala, it has to be and I just ordered one. It's like a woodland mandala where you've got a character and then a mandala around it. I can do that because, again, there's a break with the repetition, but otherwise I'm not a mandala person. But those miniature ones I liked. There's just been other books that I've liked more. Number 15, buddy color or color on your own. I'm actually going to be doing a buddy color in May with Emma Colors 2020. We're going to be coloring a picture out of the Women's World by Sachdeva. And I'm really excited and a little nervous. I mean, it's not like we're going to be in the room together and coloring. She's going to color it, I'm going to color it, and I think we post it. I actually don't know the rules of color buddy colors, but I'm excited that, one, she agreed to do it, and two, that I'm going to be doing a buddy color. But generally speaking, I am just coloring by myself on my own. I like watching, well, I watch a ton of YouTube. But I think the concept is really interesting. I don't know exactly what the rules are. I'm pretty sure she colors, I color. I don't know that I would post it on Instagram. I have Instagram, but I actually don't post a lot on social media other than here on YouTube. And then I think she'll do the same. And it's a color by colors. So it's not like our pictures are going to look different. At least I don't think so. So yeah, I don't know. I'd like to do another buddy color, but I'm intimidated to ask because that's definitely something that I would imagine people want to plan in advance. It's not like, hey, May's right around the corner. You want to buddy color an Eriy page with me? Because one, that's super detailed, and they may have a lot of other buddy colors in mind. But also, one, there's that rule thing. I mean, what are the rules of buddy coloring? But then, okay, well, now I have to finish one. And do they choose? Do I choose? How did this work? And that just unknown, it kind of unnerves me. I love the concept, and I love when I watch videos where people talk about it. I don't know how I would function with that. Number 16, trying a new artist or buying from an old favorite. Honestly, I tend to favor the same artists. Many of my coloring books would agree with me. Although if I'm watching like Eriy has made me buy a few books. Emma has made me buy a few books. And not like made me like at gunpoint or anything, but like they showed it. I'm like, oh, well, dang it. Let's see if Amazon has this. And so, yeah, I definitely will buy all of Eriy's and all of Opal's, and I'd like to have them part of my collection. Joanna Basford, I actually don't need all of the collection, and I have space issues, and so I certainly would pick other books from other people, but I definitely have my favorites. Oh, guys, I feel like I'm struggling here. I'm just answering questions. I'm literally by myself, and yet I feel like I'm failing at this. All right, number 17, colorful or neutral color palette. That one, it actually depends. I will tend to favor a neutral, but sometimes the picture itself demands a colorful palette. I have some of the Lulu Mayo coloring books. I've picked up 2 from Target. I'm expecting another one from Amazon. And those, I think, definitely lean more to the colorful. And so the subject matter makes more sense that way. But if I'm coloring in Joanna or Eriy or Opal, even something like this, I definitely tend more towards the neutral than the super vibrant and colorful. That's just what I prefer in my own color palette. Number 18, typically color a page in one sitting or work on it little by little. I'd like to finish something in one sitting, not gonna lie, but usually because of the type of pictures that I choose, it's going to be a multiple sitting. I don't like to have a lot of whips outstanding. personally, but sometimes that's just inevitable because I'll get bored and I'll want to start something else. And because of a lot of the work that I choose is a lot of detail, it's just inevitable that I'd have things take a little bit longer. Because even the 2 color by color books, depending on how late it gets in the evening for me, they can take multiple sittings. Just because even though, you know, the color palette's already chosen, I still want to take a little bit of time with it and make it look cute. 19, color while watching TV or color while watching YouTube. That one's easy. I will color watching YouTube, depending on what creative project I'm working on. So if I'm working on any of my creative journals, I'll watch journaling. If I'm working on collaging, coloring, I'll watch the video similar to that, because then I feel like I'm hanging out with friends, even though I've never met any of these people in real life. And we just got like-minded interests going on, and I can glance up every once and again, see what they're doing, and it just feels like I'm hanging out with my buddies. Number 20, color by number pixel or mosaics, or standard color by number. I don't own any of those, pixel, mosaics, or color by number, so I think I'd probably lean towards the standard color by number, and that's just because I think it might be easier. I don't want to get overwhelmed by my stuff. I'm not overwhelmed by super detailed pictures. I might be overwhelmed with like the mosaic one or the pixel one, or I think they have like a graph one where it's blank and then you have to read like a manual to yeah, no thanks. That doesn't even sound fun to me. The results are beautiful, but yeah, no. If I want to feel stressed, I'll just turn on my computer and do some work. All right, I started coloring, and then I realized I was filming. So for our bonus question number 21, if you had to use only one supply for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? And this one actually is a little difficult for me. Prismacolors are what made me get back into dog coloring. Prior to that, when I had colored years ago, I either worked with Staedler fine liners or Crayola pencils. That's all I knew was available. I didn't realize there was such a plethora of other materials. And it is so hard, at least to me, to get color payoff with Crayolas. I can use them, and I have, but it takes a lot longer. And then with Staedler fine liners, I mean, they're even finer than a Papermate Flare. And so it just, the process of it just would take forever, that I could never get the feeling of accomplishment. I mean, I'm maybe a quarter of the way into finishing this picture, at least to my standards, and yet I can see stuff on the page and I feel accomplished. Prismacolors change the game because they are so pigmented. So even though I don't use them to the best of the advantage, where you layer and you layer and you layer and you burnish, I don't do any of that. I still get a lot of the payoff that I want in the style that I like. However, I think what I would not ever go back on doing, and what I enjoy the most, is actually a process. It isn't so much a product or a supply, but I love to base my pictures in a marker. If it will handle alcohol marker, that's my preferred. But if not, I'll work with a water-based marker, and then I'll either layer with color pencils on top, just to add a little bit of depth and shading, or more alcohol markers, again, if the medium will allow it. And I find that has made me enjoy this process so much more, because I get that immediate payoff that I want, but I can add some artistic flair, not to the point where you'd see most people. I'm not looking for realism. I'm not looking to level up a skill. And so for what I do and how I turn out my pictures, they absolutely satisfy that craving I have. But I think it makes it way more enjoyable. I love my ohuhus. I even enjoy the ones that I picked up from Target because I've been enjoying coloring in my other mythographic at work just because you feel like you're being productive, and you are. I feel like I am productive because I am producing something. Even though the only inherent value is to myself, there is still value in that. But I don't know. I really, really love coloring. I don't know if that's been conveyed properly. I don't know if this video is a hot mess. Michaela, Danny, anyone who's watching, I am so sorry. I don't know that I did this right. I feel like, I don't feel like an imposter, but I feel like an imposter. If you're still here, thank you for sticking by me. Now I'm gonna continue coloring this into the evening. It's about 9:30. You probably have like another hour or two that I can color. But if you're interested in me doing one of these from start to finish, maybe in a 2-part series, let me know in the comments below. Again, not so much with this one because some of the hidden objects, like there's a mask there. I'm just going to color right over that. But in the Fabiano one that I have at work, the Frozen Fantasies one, some of those hidden objects are just obnoxious. And so if you're interested in seeing how I attack those kind of pages, let me know in the comments below. Definitely check out all of the channels that I've linked. They're amazing. I love watching them while I'm coloring. In fact, as soon as I'm done with this video, I will be watching some of them just to end my evening with. Michaela, Danny, thank you so much for this tag. That's it for me for now. Oh, I'm so sorry. This was a hot mess. And as always, aloha.